for Alabama spring football. Spring practice is back Friday, TG. IF edition of the show, hottest show in the streets. Talking your Alabama Crimson Tide. Yours truly, Stephen Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. In my own words, bringing you the show from the magic city of Birmingham, streaming to you the content on YouTube, And for all of you out there, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Smash subscribe right now so you can get all that you crave on Bama. Also, be sure to give a like. Leave a like on the show. Hit that thumbs up. Run those likes up. Make this your show, your network, your platform, channel, and space to talk Crimson Tide. Also, turn on those notifications. Hit that little bell so you can have all of your insight on Bama. We also got you covered here on Facebook and Twitter, streaming to you the show. We have a great one for tonight, and I know a lot of you guys are kind of weirded out by, why was the show starting at 5? Why did they go live at 5? The reason why we went live early today is we want to give you, the fans, the utmost content quickly, the utmost information, the most in-depth information, as today is the first day of spring practice. So we know you guys want to get the insight, the information, the news, the notes, what could be going on. Did Nick Saban sneeze? What happened out there on the spring practice field? First day of spring ball. So in honor of that, we wanted to get you guys an earlier show so we can discuss and digest what's going on here in spring practice. Now, of course, in the media, due to you still have the coronavirus COVID-19 cases going around, so they're not allowing the media to be out there in person on the practice field to watch the practices, the drills, and stuff that takes place. However, upon the practice videos being made available to us by the University of Alabama Athletics Department, we'll be getting those videos and breakdowns of those videos to you guys here on the YouTube channel. But we definitely want to hear from you tonight, the Bama Nation. You can do this by calling 205-448-1358. Then I'm going to call in to get your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. Want to hear from you. Daily Super Chat Go, $75. Daily Super Chat Go there. Appreciate the support coming from all of you where this show is concerned. And guys, shout out my man John Ivory in the production studio behind the scenes, handling things on that end. But we get into first piece of show discussion for this evening when you talk about spring practice, spring ball, and for me, this is a big spring for Coach Saban. This is a very entertaining, interesting, high-energy spring for the Crimson Tide. A lot going on. There's a lot of questions. I need answers to them as this group of players and this coaching staff trying to get back to the college football playoff national championship stage and win it this time. And everything starts here in spring practice. So for you, the Alabama fan, if you checked out touchdownalabama.com today, yours truly, I put out an article on everything you need to know about spring football for Alabama, especially this spring. The guidelines of what you need to know and what you need to expect here from your Crimson Tide. And there were 8 things that I had listed here in the article, and we're going to go over all 8 things right now. First and foremost, you look at the offensive line. Alabama's 2021 recruiting class it has to have a big say on this offensive line. It's kind of a now or never ordeal with this 2021 group here on the offensive line, with the 2 highlighted names, the cream of this group, the 2 5-stars, J.C. Latham and Tommy Brockermeyer. They've got to hit it now, winning both of these offensive tackle jobs, left tackle and right tackle. Now, it is seldom when Saban has to replace both offensive tackles in Tuscaloosa. Normally, Alabama will have one of the 2 tackles back as a returning starter. This time around, Bama losing both guys, Evan Neal at left tackle to the NFL draft, Chris Owens at right tackle to the next level as well. So Brockermeyer, Latham, here is their shot. They came in highly projected, highly rated, highly regarded by every recruiting metric as these are the best two tackle prospects coming from the high school ranks. Latham coming from IMG Academy in Florida. Brockermeyer coming from All Saints Episcopal High School in Texas. Brockermeyer, a Texas legend. His father, Blake Brockermeyer, former All-American offensive lineman, played 9 seasons in the NFL. But that offensive line, huge thing with this 2021 class is concerned. That is something to watch for and expect there. But next thing here, you as Alabama fans need to know is at the wide receiver position, even though Bama returns a stacked group of names we know and faces we know, and quite naturally Alabama has a return group of faces we know, but there's always a freshman. There's always been a freshman to come in, shake some things up, get our attention, captivate our eyeballs, and we're like, sweet baby Jesus and Mother Mary, get him on the field now! So there's always that freshman that really piques our interest. It was Julio Jones. It was Amari Cooper. It was Calvin Ridley. It was the trio of Jerry Jeudy, Devontae Smith, Henry Ruggs. Jalen Waddle was not an early enrollee. He came in the summer. But the point being is there's always a freshman that really piques our interest. And when you look at Aaron Anderson and Kendrick Law, keep your eyes on one of those two. This spring, one of those two is going to wow us. One of those two is going to highly impress us. One of those two is going to do things in spring ball. We're going to hear about it, and we're going to go, if that boy does not get on the field, I'm going to strangle Coach Saban. Not strangle him for real, but that boy better get on the field. So expect freshman at wide receiver. One of those two, Kendrick Law, Aaron Anderson, is going to pop in spring ball. Number 3, for something that you need to know as a Bama fan and to expect is running back Jahmyr Gibbs. This is the name everybody's going to have their eye on in that running back room. This is the name to watch. And while Brian Robinson had a strong career in 5 seasons in Tuscaloosa, Najee Harris was that all-around, explosive, dynamic playmaker just in every sense of a running back. And that's what fans want to see. That's what U.S. fans are intrigued by at that back position. Does Bama have somebody that's got the speed, that's got the vision, that's got the patience, that's got the cutback ability, that's got the power, that's got the hands as a receiver, that's got all of these traits in one running back, that's got everything in one. And when you watch Jahmyr Gibbs' tape out of Georgia Tech, he's got everything in one. Power, speed, agility, contact balance, vision, hands at the backfield as a receiver. He can run routes. He can return kicks, return punts. The guy can do everything from an offensive standpoint. And when you're coming from Georgia Tech, where you total over 1,800 all-purpose yards and 7 touchdowns, and when you have people say, this guy is coming in here to contend for the Heisman Trophy, that's a big deal. The question is the hype legit? Is the hype real? We're about to see it. Spring ball start today. Jahmyr Gibbs is a name everybody has their eye on. That's number 3. The 4th thing that you need to know as an Alabama fan in spring ball, Jalen Milroe is set to hold off Ty Simpson for the primary number 2 quarterback job behind Bryce Young. And, Simpson, a highly talented freshman, an incredibly talented freshman. We know his credentials coming from the high school ranks, Westview High School in Tennessee. However, Jalen Milroe has been in this system now for a full season. Guys from Texas are built differently. They're a different breed when it comes to football. We should know this by now in discussing Jalen Hurts. In the spring of 2016, very few people gave Hurts a chance as a freshman to win the starting job. And in spring, he just impressed everybody. I mean, had the best spring game, the best performance, the best overall spring, and he ended up being the starting quarterback for the Crimson Tide in the fall of that year. Here comes Jalen Milroe from Katy, Texas, built in that same frame as a Jalen Hurts. He's coming in here chip on his shoulders, a lot to prove, ready to show how much he has developed as an accurate passer. Keep your eyes on Milroe. Something to watch for, something you need to know as a fan. He is set to try to hold off Ty Simpson and have that number 2 quarterback job there behind Bryce Young. The next thing to have your eyes on as we flip this now over to defense, and that is the defensive tackle position. The next dominant nose tackle is going to come from this group on screen. U.S. fans have been asking about who's that nose tackle, who's that disruptor, who's that interior pass rusher, who's that formidable guy that creates fear in the hearts of offensive guards, centers, offensive coordinators, quarterbacks, running backs. Who's that guy in the interior of that defensive line that's going to create chaos? We haven't seen that. The latest one was Christian Barmore, but I think this group here on screen, whether it's Tim Smith, Jamarian Latham, Jamil Burrows, guys like Damon Payne, Tim Keenan III, and Quinn Barnes, Shaheem Otis. Could it finally be DJ Dale? Who knows? But this list here on screen, the next disruptive interior pass rusher, nose tackle, will be on the screen, looking to emerge here from this group. That is something that U.S. fans definitely need to know and be on the lookout for. The next one here, keep your eyes on Jalen Moody. Not a conversation about him being the middle Mike linebacker, calling out the signals at 6'2", 225 pounds. This will be his 5th season at Alabama. He's been here the same amount of time as Pete Golding as a defensive coordinator. So Moody knows the schemes, he knows the systems, he knows the schematics, he knows the formation. He is comfortable calling out the signals. He fits those run gaps. He makes big tackles. He makes big plays. He's got lateral quickness. We saw to open last season against Miami, Moody with the interception there. I think putting him at middle linebacker and having Henry To'o play off the ball at weak side linebacker, kind of being that heat-seeking missile that C.J. Mosley, Reuben Foster, and Rashaan Evans all were. Also Mack Wilson as well. I think you got to have Jalen Moody there in the middle, something to keep your eyes on. But a lot of chatter here about that, so definitely watch that here in spring ball. And so going on, we can look at Alabama's defensive secondary. I think this right here is an area where you need to have your eyes on here for the Crimson Tide. Defensive secondary comes down to the health of Malachi Moore. Is he 100% back? Is he 100% good? Because if he regains that freshman form, you talk about the possibility of him being at safety with Jordan Battle. That's a big deal. DeMarco Helm's back. You have Eli Ricks in here from the transfer portal from LSU. He's going to start at a corner. The other corner, that's going to be fun here in spring with Kool-Aid McKinstry, with Kyrie Jackson, with Terrion Arnold, and Traquan Fagans in here as well. I think this group could be Saban's best group since the 2015, 2016 group. This group could be that good. It can be that good. It comes down to the overall health of Malachi Moore. Where is he in terms of, has he gotten completely over the back spasms here? Can he be on the field consistently? And that defensive secondary, that's that right there. And so last but not least for me, can Alabama locate that return specialist? That's going to be something here in spring ball to keep your eye on. We've seen it in years past under Coach Saban to have that dynamic kick returner, punt returner, a guy that can bust it back to the house, make big plays on special teams. Whether that guy is JoJo Earl or Christian Leary or Aaron Anderson or Kendrick Law, maybe even a Thiu Jones-Bell, just throwing him out there. Can it locate the guy that it trusts to not only have the good ball judgment and the good ball security, but also the speed and the vision to make big plays in the open space on special teams? That's huge there. But that is everything you need to know right now in terms of spring football, spring practice, which kicks off today. Coach Saban will speak to the media at 5:55. for his press conference recapping the first day here of spring ball. We take a break here, folks. We'll touch that down. When we get back, we go to the phone lines to grab your calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your chats, your interactions. Spring ball is back, and we get to you guys, the Bama Nation, after this.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up.
What's up, Bama Nation? This is Rudy Griffin, former Alabama defensive lineman, and you're listening to my guy, Stephen M. Smith, In My Own Words, brought to you by Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Roll Tide, roll!
9 players have teamed up and released the Alabama Team Paper, which is a video yearbook they put out for sale direct to fans. Now, for the first time, small dollar purchases from the fans can support the players as a group as well as a great cause, because $1 of every subscription payment is donated to the Boys and Girls Club of America. Be a 5-star fan base and support your team and a great cause with Team Paper. Check it out at teampaper.com/Alabama.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
We're back into the action here, folks, from the break on a Friday TGIF edition of the show. Spring practice, live kicking, swinging in session here for your Crimson Tide in Tuscaloosa. Once again, Coach Saban will speak to the media at 5:55, recapping the first day of spring ball for the Crimson Tide. We appreciate you guys liking the show, running those likes up, giving us that thumbs up there, making us your show, your network, platform, channel, and space to talk Bama football. Also, the Daily Super Chat goes, $75. Daily Super Chat going. Appreciate the support from you. But right now, we go to the phone lines to grab your calls. The call segment is brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. Number to call in to let your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. We grab this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling tonight? State your name and where you're calling from.
Hey, Steven, it's Kenneth. I'm from Dallas.
What's going on, man?
Nothing much. I'm not going to be long with you. I just want to talk about two things, two position groups that I'm 50 on and worrying what we're going to do about it. So the first is the defensive backs. Personally, I think we really do need to worry about getting Malachi healthy, and we got to get Malachi and Brian on the field together because they're dangerous together. And I'm not going to lie, I've never been too crazy about Helms ever since that season where we beat Ohio State. He was good down the stretch, man, but last year he just wasn't rangy enough to be back there at the free safety position. I think he needs to be more to the line of scrimmage and have Brian and Malachi back there with the ranginess and the speed back there that we need. And, you know, I'm also a little iffy about Battle coming back. I thought he should have went and got his money, but glad to have him back. But I just wonder if this is going to send one of these young guys to the portal, you know, today. And lastly, the receiver position group, man, I was very pleased, you know, Mechie and Jameson last year, but man, you know, Mechie was a slot receiver, and we could have used him in the slot the entire season if one of those outside guys had stepped up earlier in the season, because when Mechie was going up against Florida, Ty Earlham put hands on him, and even Texas A&M, like, he's not an outside receiver, and we had to use him in outside so much for certain reasons because the other guys weren't stepping up. I just don't feel like we maximized what we really had in that room. And I like Burton. I watch Georgia a lot. My family's from Georgia too. Burton's really good, but he's more of a deep threat guy, not really a super space creator guy. And I'm just wondering, even Ja'Cory Brooks, I think he's a great receiver. I don't think he's got an amazing route separation tree. And just, you know, with the receivers we've had in the last 4 years, them guys can separate. They have feet, hands, and they can separate. And so I don't know. Maybe we're going to morph to more of a jump ball type system, maybe with the tall receivers we have. If it works, it works. But I'm just interested to see how it works out, man. What are your thoughts?
Appreciate the call right there. So starting off with Malachi Moore, I agree. Alabama's got to get him healthy because as a freshman, he was outstanding. 3 interceptions, very cerebral. The young man was everywhere. And you saw when you have him and Branch together, they make some stuff happen. That's why if you get Malachi fully healthy, you put Malachi at free safety with Jordan Battle, and you move DeMarco Hellams to dime linebacker. I've always felt like Marco was playing out of position. He's more so of a linebacker than anything. He loves to hunt. He loves to hit. He loves to make those bone-crushing type tackles. So you get him more so to the action. You put him in dime. You put Malachi, who's a bit more of a free range, more third of the field, IQ, free safety. You put him right there. You got to get him healthy, though. Absolutely. We take this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Steven. How you, my man?
How we doing? Doing well on yourself?
Hey, my name's Noah. You talked to you on the phone a couple days ago?
Yeah, I remember that.
I'm sorry, because I was breaking out on my neighbor's phone. I was using my neighbor's phone. Who was you talking about?
We talking about spring practice, man. Spring practice back. What you want to say in spring practice?
Oh, you talking about the LSU kid?
Well, yeah, the Eli Ricks kid from LSU. He transferred in, but he's in spring ball playing DB for Alabama.
Yeah, hey, Steven, I forgot. Actually, a couple days ago, coach up here where I went to high school at, graduated. He said, "No, throw me a good football." I said, "Okay, let me see I can throw you one." He said, "You burn my hand up. You need to be a quarterback down there in Bama." I said, "Okay."
Can't beat that, man. You can't beat it. Appreciate the call right there coming from him, calling to the show. 205-448-1358. Number to call in, 205-448-1358. Spring ball's in session, folks. It's a lot of questions. A lot of questions that you want answers to, especially coming after, you were right there with Georgia in the national championship game. Halftime score was 9-6 in favor of Alabama. Injury there to Jamison Williams. If it doesn't happen, Alabama is able to run away with that game, but it did happen, and you can't cry over spilled milk. But the fun thing is spring football is back, and we're going to get some questions answered here. We got this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How are you feeling? State your name. Where you calling from?
What's going on, Steve? This is Elijah calling from Jersey. How you feeling, bro?
Doing good, man. Spring football kicks off today, man. I'm excited to hear Coach Saban pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, I was just listening to your comments about DeMarco Hellams. A lot Daniel Wright last year, DeMarco Hellams, it was real shaky, man, at the beginning of the year. But as the year went on, they kind of reminded me of like what Henry To'oTo'o did. They played better down the stretch. Hellams started looking real good at the last couple games of the season, But, as far as Malachi Moore back there, I think he fits better, personally to me, in that nickel situation. I look at them safeties kind of like you need that bigger guy back there, that thumper. But he wouldn't be bad.
So Elijah, you would put Branch back there then with Jordan Battle.
Yeah, I like that. I like that matchup with Branch, man. Branch they're so similar, but I think Branch brings a little bit more pop to him. Branch just kind of reminds me of like Hellams, man. They hunters, like you said. Malachi Moore is more of a coverage guy. He makes good plays, but he's not really that hunter like those other two, like Hellams and Branch. But I do feel that he would be a great fit at that dime linebacker spot, like you said, because, don't get me wrong, I don't like to talk about the guy, but I keep it real, man. Henry To'oTo'o, he don't impress me, man. I thought we was getting much more of a player. When he was at Tennessee, it looked like he was all world, you know. And I don't know, does he look average to me because he's on an Alabama team and the talent around him is so great, so he just looks like another one of the guys? But I'm really not like totally blown off the charts by him. But I will say he did turn it on last year. He looked like he actually knew what he was doing at the end of last year. So, you know, I give him the credit for that. But I think in the spring, a lot of people is overlooking one thing. Everybody wants to say the offensive line, what's going to happen there, the wide receiver core. People need to start worrying about who in the world will be a backup quarterback if something happens to Bryce. If Bryce has a twisted ankle or something, who's going to step in for him? Because now that offense, it takes a couple steps back because as we've seen, what's the guy, the backup kid from last year, the third string one. What's his name, Steve? Help me out real quick.
Tyson.
No, not Tyson. The other kid, the one that he hardly got any snaps.
Jalen
Milroe. He didn't get a chance to run the complete offense at all last year. So if something happens to, you know, Bryce Young, God forbid, man, we're relying on a freshman in Milroe, a guy that doesn't have hardly any experience running offense. Last year, he was coming in doing Wildcat stuff. So I want to see who's going to step up in that backup role as a backup quarterback, and can they run the offense anywhere as efficient as Bryce Young can, because that's going to be extremely important. And like you always said, we've seen how the lack of experience, the lack of playing time, the lack of preparation, how it could come back and bite us in the tail, because it showed in that national championship game. So, you know, it's going to be important that we get a lot of these guys in the rotation, get a lot of these guys experience, so when their number is called, the offense doesn't have to take a step back or drop off too much. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to see how Milroe and this freshman kid that we got coming in, how they turn out. I would like to see how they can contribute to the offense and even control this offense if their number is called. But like always, Steve, I appreciate you taking my call. You have a great weekend, man.
Appreciate Elijah that calling from Jersey. Good thoughts from him. Spring practice, spring ball, back in Tuscaloosa, 205-448-1358. Number to call in. We grab this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from?
Sweet home Alabama. Roll Tide Roll. It's your boy Coach Smoot from Phoenix City, Alabama. What's going on, Steven?
Doing good, man. Doing good. I mean, we got spring football right here. Coach Saban about to speak soon, recapping that first practice. I'm trying to hit the over-under on how many times Coach Saban will use "aight" in the first conference back.
Oh, Lord. Hey, I'm going. Depends on how long the statement is. They're usually like 10 to 12 minutes long, right?
At least 10. At least 10, yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking over 30. Over 30. We got over 30. But yeah, man, I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Spring football. I like the amount of questions we have coming into this season. You know, losing the national championship the way we did. Just, you know, a lot of players leaving, transfers leaving, a lot of opportunities out there. I'm loving the questions that we have now. Those usually lead to very successful seasons. Seasons where we come into the off season. The off season is, you know, people are doubting just because of so much leaving. Jameson is gone, Mechie's gone, Bolden's gone, all your receivers are gone. You know, all the talk, your running back, your offensive lineman. And I'm excited to see new energy on the field. And I think mentally these guys are gonna push themselves like they did last the 2020 season. And also just to look at some key spots like you were talking about, Steven, I kind of like Malachi Moore at the safety spot with Battle. I think Branch is more fit for the nickel spot because of his range and his physicality, which opens up more, to sit over top and play the ball, because we know he's a ball hawk when he's put in those positions. I think he played good in run support from the nickel spot, and even when he had to play safety. I think it was a Miami game. I think I think him and Branch were kind of alternating at the safety position, but I really like that combination back there. Both are reliable tacklers in Moore and Battle. So you do have your extra set of run support, and you put Branch up front to be, that kind of like that third linebacker, which he has that capability of playing. And I feel like he matches up better against the bigger tight ends. Everybody's splitting out the tight end, they're flexing out the tight end. So I think Branch matches up there, kind of frees up your linebackers, doesn't put them in as many unfavorable positions as far as coverage. Gives you a little bit more flexibility, especially the way Alabama, how aggressive Pete Golden started showing he wants to play the defense when guys are on the same page. So I think that's going to play a lot into it. Just the overall knowledge in the secondary. I think that's what they're going with coming into the camp, which would be good. And to see other guys grow. It's not Christian Story. What's the guy? It is Story. That's his name. I would love to see him get in the rotation somehow, Steven. Even if you bring him in on the dime package and put him over top of the Battle and slide more down to your other your dime corner, and still have Branch at the nickel corner, and your Kool-Aid and Jackson, or whoever's going to be the second corner on the outside. I feel like you're putting your best athletes on the field, your best ball hawks. You got questions with the footwork with Malachi Moore walking closer down, but I mean, overall, it's just so stacked. And on the offensive side, I'm like everybody else. I want to see Jalen Milroe and Simpson come in here and battle to play. Really have a sense of control. No drop-off type of feel, whether they have a different set of play calling or they're running the same exact style of play calling that Bryce is running, because you have different styles, skill sets with each one of those quarterbacks in Young, Milroe, and Simpson. So I honestly think Simpson is content with sitting and learning and trusting their process, because if Milroe doesn't get forced into an opportunity to prove himself, that'll keep the door open for him to compete for the starting job next season, minus, injuries and everything or transfers and stuff. So I feel like this is going to be a very important spring for both of those guys, Simpson and Milroe, to kind of seize that early, reliable, backup QB role this spring right now for their position next year. And I think we see Mac Jones do that behind Jalen and Tua. He sat behind both of those guys for 3 years, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And when it was like, that question of Bryce Young, is he ready? The next hot prospect, is he ready? We didn't have to force him into that role because we had that reliable backup that had been sitting in the system and, adjusting and getting better and actually working to get better. And also he just, you got to start building that chemistry with the guys you're working with every day, and like Elijah said, you don't want to see drop off when guys are forced into big time spots, especially like the national championship when you're at a school at the level of Alabama. You're not supposed to see drop off. If anything, you're supposed to see a different aspect that they didn't, that the previous person that they're replacing didn't bring, that can be an asset to the team. So I'm excited about spring ball, and I think people are really excited. There a lot of questions in the air, but one thing we must not forget: we still have Coach Saban. So at the end of the day, I think we got the upper hand. We have the advantage. That's all I got to say on the night, Steven. Appreciate you guys taking my calls. I love what you guys are doing. I haven't been able to catch them live, so I had to get in here tonight, man, and definitely been catching up, man, and keep putting out the great content, brother. I appreciate you guys, John, you, Benny. Happy belated birthday, Benny. Shouts out Benny. And everybody up there, man. Y'all be easy. Much love. Roll Tide, fam.
Appreciate Senator Hines. Coach Smoke checking in here on a Friday. Spring ball back in Tuscaloosa. So much to discuss. Coach Saban getting ready to take that podium at 5:55 shortly after practice to recap what took place in day one of spring ball. But we're going to go to a quick topic right here, and that goes to the Terminator, Will Anderson, back for a groundbreaking junior year. And after Bryce Young inked his NIL deal with the BMW dealership in Tuscaloosa, how about Big Will? He grabs him an NIL deal with the BMW dealership in Tuscaloosa. So the two big leaders on opposite sides of the ball for Alabama grabbing NIL deals with big-time car people. Bryce Young, Will Anderson, zoom to that BMW. Kudos to both of those two getting those deals. We all know that these two are more so highly keen getting Alabama back to national championship and trying to win that title. But we take a break right here, folks, on the show. Don't touch that dial. When we get back, before we do that, if you're holding on the call lines, you can hold for the next 10 minutes, or you can call back within the next 10 minutes. Definitely want to hear from you guys. But when we get back from the break, we get into, has Georgia really passed Alabama in multiple categories? There's a conversation going on throughout the social media sphere and elsewhere on Georgia passing up Alabama. We'll talk about it after this.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your four-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters.
Look at all these great players in Touchdown Alabama magazine. Man, wait till I turn up this year. I'm gonna be on the front cover. But what if Will goes off? Or Joe, DeMarco, Chris, Tim, Christian.
Don't wait. Order now at touchdownalabama.com or call 833-483-2624 today.
Christian.
And we are back rolling. We are back in from the break. Number one forum for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith. Touchdown Alabama Magazine on a Friday, TGIF edition of the show. Spring football back in action, back in flow, back in full swing. Coach Saban and the Crimson Tide on the practice field, kicking off day one of spring ball. Continue to give us that thumbs up, that like on the show. Run those likes up. Make this your network, your channel, your platform, and space to talk Bama football. Appreciate you guys for what you do. But now we get into a conversation that started off on social media, and now it's kind of gotten everywhere here. And it's, has Georgia passed Alabama in multiple categories? There was, Georgia, a lot of the Georgia fans have been talking, and a couple of the Georgia beat writers have been on different shows talking about, look at what Georgia's doing. They passed up Alabama. They beat them on the field in the head-to-head. They beat them in the combine. They're going to have more players drafted than Alabama in the NFL draft. And, nowadays in college football, recruits only care about two things: NIL deal, show me the money, how much am I going to get paid, and the NFL. Can you prepare me, develop me to the NFL? And now the idea is Georgia stands as that school right with Alabama, on the same level as Alabama, and in some people's opinions, over Alabama, to get both of those things done, as well as contending for those national championships. Now I get it. It was a good win for Georgia against Alabama. It was huge for Kirby Smart, right? You get Georgia the first national championship in over 40 years since 1980. But people, The blind squirrel, if you play the probability game, and if that squirrel is reading Braille, eventually it's going to find a nut. It's going to probably backdoor its way. It's going to probably back its way into the nut. People, eventually, the attractive girl is going to give the guy that's probably deemed unattractive her number at some point. People, I mean, the DF student, you give the DF student the right teachers, the right tutors, the right classes, the right circumstances and situations, even that DF student at some point can become an AB honor roll student or even an A honor roll student given the situation. So it was great to see Kirby Smart win the national championship, right? It was fantastic for Georgia to see that happen, to see that unfold, because it's been over 40 years since that happened. But to say Georgia has passed Alabama in multiple categories, I mean, come on here. Coach Saban, we're talking about, he's put over 100 players in the NFL draft. He's got 39 of those first-round picks. That number may grow to 42 first-round picks after this draft. When you talk about Evan Neal going first round, Jamison Williams going first round. After the combine that Christian Harris just had, maybe he even sneaks back in there late first round. I mean, Coach Saban's been known for putting players, several players, hundreds of players into the NFL. So passing up Alabama in multiple categories, yeah. So here's my thing. Now the pressure starts for Kirby Smart. Now it starts. In the sense of you won the national championship, but can you sustain that? That's the hardest part, is sustaining that level of success. Because now you don't have Jordan Davis. You don't have Nakobe Dean. You don't have Quay Walker. You're not going to have a lot of these guys next season. So how do you sustain? Can you still be on top? Can you still remain at the upper echelon? You're getting coaches picked and poached off your staff. Can you still remain on top? You're going to have players that's going to go in the transfer portal. Can you still remain on top? Because now Kirby's about to get hit with the thing. Because he's Kirby Smart, he's going to be expected to have Georgia every single year in that national championship conversation. Why? Because people are going to look at it. Don't matter if he has a good recruiting class or a bad recruiting class. It don't matter if coaches are being poached off the staff. It don't matter if he's losing players to the NFL. It don't matter. He's Kirby Smart. So because he's Kirby Smart, Georgia should be in that college football playoff every single year. That's the pressure that Kirby's about to hit. Can he sustain it? That's the test. That's the challenge. Nick Saban has dealt with it every single year. It doesn't matter if Saban gets a top 10 recruiting class or not. He's Nick Saban. Bama's supposed to be in the conversation every year. It don't matter if Saban gets every coach poached off the state. It don't matter. Nick Saban in Tuscaloosa. Bama going to be in that conversation every year. It don't matter if Nick Saban loses Moses and Noah's Ark to the transfer portal. It don't matter. Bama going to be in that conversation every year. And for the most part, Nick Saban has kept Alabama in that conversation every year. Here is the test for Kirby. He's won one. Georgia, you got one. But can you sustain that? You're not passing up Alabama if you can't sustain that level of success every year. You're in that college football playoff. Every year you're in that national championship game. Every year you're right there trying to win that national championship. And what's crazy, people, is, people said the same thing about LSU. When LSU won the national championship undefeated in 2019, they're like, LSU done passed up Alabama. Look at what Coach O has done. Woo, woo, woo. Look at what them Tigers, baby. They done passed up Alabama. Look at them Tigers. They came and took down Bama. Look at them Tigers. The very next year, LSU imploded like a stack of laundry. Did not get back to the national championship. Edo got fired. LSU was supposed to pass up Alabama. Didn't happen. People go, oh, man, Dabo Swinney, that's the one. Clemson, Dabo beat Nick Saban in 2 championships. What has Dabo done the last 3 years? lost in the national championship game to LSU, which I understand. That happens. Nothing to be ashamed of. LSU had a good team in 2019. Dabo Swinney, Clemson lost to Ohio State in the semifinal of the college football playoff. Last year did not even make the darn thing. Did not even make the CFP. So Dabo Swinney is finding out real quick, it is hard. Like they say, it's hard out here for a pimp. It is hard to sustain at the top of the mountain. It's easy to get there. It is hard to keep there. Dabo Swinney has figured this thing out real quick. It's hard. So here we go again here with Kirby Smart. Winning the national championship, you got there. But can you sustain? That's the main thing. Everybody's saying, Georgia's passed up Alabama. Now the challenge has begun. For Kirby and Georgia. But here we go here. This is the beauty here of Coach Saban. This spring right here, he's using this spring. Coach Saban is using this spring as a launching pad to get back to the big dance. He's using this spring to not only get back to the big dance, but to capture that 7th national championship at Alabama and 8th overall to put him all the way over Coach Bryant in that respect of just simply Alabama. So it's a big spring. Saban knows it's a big spring. He's focused on this spring right here. But Georgia, they won the national championship. They got it. But to say they've passed up Alabama, since 2007, y'all, Alabama and Georgia have faced each other 9 times. Georgia is 2-7. 2-7. They won the first matchup, 2007. Saban's first year was Saban's first year. He was trying to get that chemistry, that program built the way he wanted to. And Alabama took a tumble in the national championship game back in January. But Alabama 7-2 against Georgia in the Nick Saban era. Kirby Smart, just his first win. Before we make the conversation of Georgia's past Alabama, let Georgia have some consistency in having sustained success first. When Georgia can have some sustained success, then we can continue the conversation. First national championship in over 40 years. All right. We're going to take a break here, folks, on the show and touch that dial. Just getting started. When we get back, we go on the phone lines to take your calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your chats, your interactions, folks. We get to you right after this. Don't go anywhere.
Don't touch that dial. Call in right now as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith. Brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit weownthefourthquarter.com now to get your 4-finger bling necklace. Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
And we are back into the action here, folks, from the break of the number one source here for your Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Appreciate you guys checking us out here on a Friday TGIF edition of the show. Spring football has returned to Tuscaloosa. Coach Saban and the guys out there on the practice field getting that work in. But we go to the phone lines to take your calls. Call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. Number to call in to let your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358. We grab a call right here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you're calling from.
Tide Man, checking in from Jackson, Mississippi. Hope you're doing well, brother.
Doing great, Tide Man. How are you?
Man, I'm feeling wonderfully, man. Spring is in the air here in Jackson. Beautiful, beautiful weather, beautiful day. I know it's the same way probably in Tuscaloosa. Excited about spring football. And I really appreciate what you just said, man. I just want to say amen to all your points. All this talk about UGA surpassing Alabama. Look, man, I grew up in Atlanta. I've told you this before. I grew up in Atlanta. And I'm telling you, there's not a fan base that thinks more unreasonably highly of themselves than Georgia fans. I think they've won now after last year, maybe 2 or maybe 3 all-time national championships, and yet they walk around acting like they're Alabama, and they never will be, never were, never will be. And I have nothing against Kirby Smart. I like Kirby. I will always respect what he did with us, but nah, man, you nailed it. It's always, like you said, LSU. I remember here in Jackson, Mississippi, when Ole Miss beat us back-to-back in 2 years. It was like Hugh Freeze has surpassed Nick Saban. I mean, it's just really silly. It's like you said, consistency. You know, that's what a real champion is. It's someone who wins consistently. You know, year in and year out, competing for national championship. And as far as our prospects for this year, you guys know much more. Great calls, by the way, that have preceded mine. You guys know much more about the ins and outs and details and the players than I do, so I'm always learning. But I really do think it's going to come down to, can we keep Bryce Young healthy? And I just hate to say it like that, but if we cannot keep him healthy, and that might mean in some of these throwaway games to maybe not even let him play even a half. I mean, he's just that important to our success. And it's nothing. I don't have confidence in Milroe or Tyson. What's the Tyson Smith? But Bryce Young is just that special. He's just that good. And I also don't have a lot of confidence in Bill O'Brien to be a play caller without Bryce Young running the show. That's just my 2 cents on that. But I wanted to throw out, Steve Nim, I wanted to throw out this question to you and the other callers. It's a little bit off topic from the spring football, but I wanted to ask you, which new change in college football do you think will have the biggest impact long term, either negatively or positively, be it the NIL or the transfer portal? And I'm going to throw out my 2 cents, then I'll hang up and let you answer. But I think it's the transfer portal. You know, I'm just a college football guy. I just do not like pro sports. And every change that the college game makes to become more like professional football just drives me nuts. I can't get too mad about the NIL because I think these kids deserve it. And by the way, props to Will Anderson and Bryce Young both on their NIL deals, man. Well done and well deserved. But I think the transfer portal is more detrimental to the college game. Just for example, just imagine how great it would have been to have Jamison Williams play 3 years at Alabama. I mean, that guy is so good and so special. We only had him for 1 year, and we were excited that we got him from Ohio State. But there's just something about the college game that I'm used to, where you get teams and you get players to gel for 2, 3, 4 years and see what they can do collectively as a whole unit, as a whole team. And with the transfer portal, it seems to sort of be taking away from that aspect of college football that I have always personally really loved and enjoyed so much. But that's my 2 cents on that. And I'll get off the phone, hang up, and let you give your comments on it. But well done as always, man. Excited about spring football. Excited to hear Nick Saban later on today. Y'all have a great one. Roll Tide.
Appreciate Todd, man, checking in there out of Mississippi. I mean, for me, I look at the transfer portal myself just due to, and this is kind of a catch-22 for me, because I'm living in this generation as a young person, and the mindset is if it's not done the way I want it done now, I'm going to go somewhere else where it can be done the way I would like it to. But at the same time, I'm a product of 2 old school parents that value patience, that value hard work, that value blue collar, that value, hey, if you have to wait your time, wait your time. Sit down, shut up, put your head down, work, wait your time. So it's really a catch-22, because you look at some of the athletes They come from so many different backgrounds. Some come from the background of, hey, be patient, it's cool. When your time come, your time come. Some come from the background of, Sean, if you don't get it now, leave. We about getting this thing now, or go somewhere where you can get it. So it's tough. But I would look at the transfer portal just due to it robs from the patience of the game. It robs from the, I guess, developmental process of the game, sticking things through, sticking things out. But at the same time, you can't fault the athletes at times when they feel like I've stuck things out, and I'm still not seeing the light of what I'm trying to do. So now I got to go somewhere else. But the transfer portal does give me some head-scratching thoughts as well. We appreciate Todd, man, for that call. We grab this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Roll, Tide, roll. Stephen M., this is William. What's happening?
What's going on, Will, man? It's at spring ball, first day. Coach Saban about to speak to the reporters in a few moments here, recapping first day of spring ball. I'm wondering, will Coach Saban wear the straw hat for the reporters?
I don't know. Are you going to break into that during your program so we could hear that, or what's going on? Do you know all that?
Now, right now, we got a guy for us here at TDA. My man, our guy Patrick Dowd is actually there on the scene of the press conference. Now, of course, when that concludes, we will get a video of that, and we will have that there on our channel for you guys. But right now, we do have a guy there. Our guy Patrick Dowd is on the scene right now.
I got you. Yeah. Since the spring ball, I was going to ask you on some of that here, but first I want to say that I know Coach Saban said that I think he said recently that the offense is what's winning games now, but I'm kind of like with old school Barry Bryant that that defense wins the game. If you got a good defense, that'll beat a good offense any day, because if you can't score, you ain't going to make anything. So if your team is doing all the scoring and they can't, that's what makes it all. Myself, and I was going to ask you if we've got any kind of edge rushers during the spring game. Have you seen any of that out there that can come in there and attack the quarterback like Will Anderson does?
Well, you have Will Anderson. Across from him, you have Dallas Turner, who played well as a freshman. He's back. Chris Braswell is back as an edge rusher. You got two guys that are early enrollees, two freshmen, Jeremiah Alexander and Giod Campbell. Can't wait to see those two. Byron Young is back as an edge rusher. Justin Aboigbe is back. I would like to see more meanness from Aboigbe. We'll see if we can get that out of him. And you have a young guy, and Curtis Perry, a freshman enrollee, who can play the edge as well. So Bama's got guys. It's just which ones that take on that role.
Yes, sir. I'm anxious to see that. I'm anxious to see which one wants to do that. Anyway, roll Tide, and I'll let other folks get on here.
Appreciate my man William from Iowa. Absolutely. Appreciate my man William from Iowa there for that call. That's always the main question. Alabama has the talent. It's which guy or group of guys are the ones that take that mantle and want that role. Whether it's sacking the quarterback, whether it's getting interceptions, whether it's scoring touchdowns. You got the talent, but who takes control of that role? Who takes control of handling the responsibilities needed for that role? It's always like the Marines looking for a few good men. Everybody wants to save the world, but who's willing to take on that responsibility to truly save the world? You can kind of compare that to Alabama football in a sense, but we're going to go here to a quick topic, and this one goes to one Amari Cooper, former Alabama receiver. The NFL New Year starts on March 16th, so there's a situation going on in Dallas. The Cowboys are expected to either trade or release Cooper. And the Miami Dolphins are just waiting in the wings. They're waiting in the back. That they're seeing what's going to happen here. Because once Cooper is parted from the Cowboys, South Florida native, played at Miami Northwestern High School, has a chance to go back home Mike McDaniel has done an unbelievable job putting together this coaching staff. He looks forward hitting on some guys, getting some big moves there in the NFL draft. But his main thing is, I want to make Miami sexy. I want to make Miami attractive in terms of the Dolphin franchise and the team. And he's also assured Tua Tagovailoa, hey, I'm going to make you a star. We're going to make you a star here in year 3 in the NFL. If the Miami Dolphins can pull Amari Cooper, if they put Coop with Jalen Waddle, look out. That's going to be fun. Keep your eyes there on the Dolphins and Amari Cooper. According to Cameron Wolf of NFL Network, Cooper is the guy the Dolphins are watching closely because they kind of want to see, can they pull this off and bring him to South Florida. But we go to a break here, folks, on the show. Don't touch that dial, because when we get back, we discuss the importance of this spring to Coach Saban. Why Coach Saban is really about to take this spring personal. We'll talk about it after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All-Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to STSfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to STSfootwear.com and get your All-Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
We're back into the action here, folks, from the break. Number one form for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Coach Saban now about to hit this podium here for the press conference, recapping day 1 of spring ball. But before we get into final topic of conversation, got to remind you of TDAwear.com. That's TDAwear.com. You can check out the site right now. Link in the description. Get all of your clothes, hoodies, joggers, just all swag, all clothing, all culture needs right there. Supporting your Crimson Tide, TDAwear.com. Check that out. Supporting Coach Saban, the University of Alabama, the student athletes, and us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazine. But big spring here for Coach Saban, taking this spring personally here in Tuscaloosa at the University of Alabama. And the reason why this is a big spring here for Coach Saban is when you come off a loss in the national championship game, all of your senses sort of heighten, and you are able to quickly know, okay, what did I do wrong? What did I do right? What do I need to tighten up in? What do I need to get better in? What buttons do I need to push? And not only is Saban focused on that, where the team is concerned and coaching staff is concerned and getting back to a national championship, I think more so than that, Saban's taking this spring to let the world know nobody else is on the same level as I'm on. It's Alabama and then everybody else. We had a caller to call the show during the spring of last season, my man Kyle from Foley. He would come in with just so much passion saying it's Alabama and then there's everybody else. Man, miss Kyle right there. But that's what Saban is literally trying to prove here and show this spring, because I don't know if you noticed this or not, but when media pundits, prognosticators, when they see these different coaches, a lot of them try to measure them to Nick Saban. Put them on the same level, put them on the same plateau, put them on the same wavelength, put them on the same pattern as Coach Saban. And he's in a class of his own. He's in a pattern of his own. He's in a culture of his own. Right now, They're trying to do this with Kirby Smart and saying, well, Kirby's on the same level as Saban. Kirby's just as good. Kirby's developing. Kirby's putting guys in the first round. Kirby just won a championship. Look at what Kirby Smart's doing. He's on that same level. He can sustain. He can remain. He can do this. Kirby Smart is going to have Georgia in national championships for years to come. We're going to see, can he sustain? That's the biggest question, as I mentioned there in a previous segment. But even prior to Kirby Smart, remember in the early years of Coach Saban at Alabama when the guy was supposed to be Urban Meyer? People were like, well, Urban's on the same level as Nick Saban. Look at Urban. Younger, more spry, fresher brain, fresher mind. He's out there running the darn thing. Look at Urban Meyer. Look at him. He's on the same level as Coach Saban. Look at Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer was ran out of the SEC. Ultimately, he's not in college football. He's not even in NFL football anymore. But people thought at one point in time, Urban Meyer, same level as Nick Saban. Then you look at, remember Gus Malzahn? Oh, yeah. Gus Malzahn, who was at Auburn, who would beat Alabama, beat Nick Saban every other year. People were like, Gus Malzahn's on the same level as Nick Saban. He's the one. He's the chosen one that's going to be right there with Nick Saban. Gus Malzahn is now at UCF, now at Central Florida. Then people looked at, Dabo Swinney. This is the guy. Same level as Nick Saban. He's the one. Dabo, yes, beat Coach Saban in 2 national championship games, but what has happened since then? He did not beat LSU in the national championship, lost to Ohio State in the semifinal, did not even make the college football playoff just a season ago. I mean, even down to guys like, Ed Ogeron, Coach O. Coach O's the one. Coach O. LSU, national championship, 2019. The very next year, LSU physically imploded. And they're hoping that they're praying on a stack of Bibles, wine, and beignets, and Mardi Gras beads, that Brian Kelly is the one that can get this program consistently where it needs to be. That's what LSU is doing. But we've seen this pattern here of a coach starts to make a rise. A coach starts to have success, and immediately they start comparing him. This is going to be bigger than Nick Saban. This is going to be better than Nick Saban. This is going to be on the same level as Coach Saban. I mean, even down to Jim Harbaugh. When he first came to Michigan doing all the satellite camps, they're like, this guy is going to destroy Coach Saban. It took Jim Harbaugh, 7, 8 tries to beat Ohio State? The first time? This is the first time Jim Harbaugh got in the college football playoff? First time? I mean, people. So Coach Saban is using this spring once and for all to show people nobody's on the same level as I'm on. Nobody's on the same plateau as I'm on. It's me being Nick Saban, the University of Alabama, and then everybody else is kind of gunning for second place on down. So Saban's taking this spring personally. With the conversations about Georgia has passed Alabama, and look at all these other teams out there, and how the NIL is going to really, shrink in Saban's grip on the league and the transfer portal. I'm telling you, he's about to use this spring to stamp the claim on, look, it's me and it's everybody else here in this game. But as always, fans, you want the best in news, notes, information, and coverage here on your favorite program, that being the Crimson Tide. You can check this out by accessing the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You download the app from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple. Google Play Store if you got the Android phone for your audio needs. Check us out, iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, Overcast.fm, TuneIn Radio, Google Play, iHeartRadio, got you covered. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, I'll be back on Monday continuing the conversation that is Bama football. Remember, Tide fans, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Have those sent to your door. That link found in the description. If you're trying to get the fresh edition, print edition of TDA the magazine, you go to touchdownalabama.com, you click join, become a member, a subscriber today. That link in the description. You can also check out the 4-finger bling necklace, 4-finger bling jewelry, courtesy of the guys at weownthefourthquarter.com. That link in the description as well. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, husbands, love your wives. Wives appreciate value. Those husbands, children, we've made it to the weekend, but you still do the right thing, fun thing, smart thing, good thing, legitimate thing to not be bored. You be sure to grab yourself those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. You protect yourself, you protect the loved ones around you. Until next time, folks, I'm your man, Stephen M. Smith. Enjoy the weekend. You've been listening to In My Own Words.